start the show. The Good Life with DG. It's Nicole. Welcome to the Good Life.
You are now listening to the Good Life Podcast.
Good Life. Good Life. These boys are crazy.
You are now listening to the Good Life Podcast.
Good Life. What? A Good Life.
Hey, welcome to the Good Life Podcast. My name is David Taylor.
Yo, it's Spicoli. What's poppin'?
What up, man? How you doing?
I'm amazing, dude. I'm so glad to reunite with the Venaculas.
Bring your eyes, bring your light, get your chance to see the sun.
Look at these guys.
Hey,
What's up, boys?
what's up?
You guys are our first band in person.
Is that right?
Everything else we do is remote. This is our first in person with a full band, man. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's so nostalgic right now. You got Jay, Old Dave, Chad, Middle-aged Dave,
Middle-aged.
and then Eric and Phil as well. So we're all in the same room for the first time together. And David, I don't know if you know this or not, but we did a lot of we did a lot of fun shows together back in the day.
did a couple.
Yeah, we did one or
did
two.
a couple.
We did one or two, and these guys really just came out the gate swinging, and they got played on the radio, and everybody was asking how do you even say this band's name? First of all, where did you come up with Venaculas?
Yeah. I'll let Chad handle that one.
Well, it was the talent show thing that we needed a name for, right? If I remember correctly. And they're like, high school talent show. And they like, you need a name. We were watching Three Stooges, and someone said vernacular.
Which is a real word.
Yeah, which is a real word. And we're like, but Curly or one of them was like, vernaculars, kind of did that. And we're like, okay, there we go. Because we really figured we'd only play one show. Like, it was going to be this high school thing. We're like, who cares? Like, we don't even know what the hell we're doing. Let's just, we'll roll with that. Well, it just stuck because we never quit playing shows after that. It just happened, But we've heard some funny things. I mean, one guy, he's like, is that like an elephant, like urinary tract infection? If people are just hearing, like, the vernaculars, it reminds me of like that thing you do, the show, like the Oneaters, like that was always something. It was entertaining to see what people would, how they'd pronounce it or what is that,
Right. It's a very interesting name that stands out, and you want to know the story. I guess I've never known the story behind Venaculas. Like, when I first heard it, I associated the music with it, so I was like, I better know how to say this name on the radio. I better know how to say the first radio single, was it Shut Up?
Yes.
Yep.
When you guys heard that on the radio for the first time, what were you thinking?
We were
holy
floored.
shit.
We were like, we were young kids. We were like, almost on the brink of running around outside, like like doing like hot laps or something. Like, we were so excited, because it was so new to us, and it was like unheard of. That stuff you reserve for the bands you watch on TV,
Right. Yeah. Right.
So to have that happen was like,
and having at the time Davey was dating a girl, and that was
Whoa. Not dating, talking.
You were talking to some girl, and she called in to Capone's show.
If you're listening,
in the
I
afternoon.
apologize.
And you were that was the time where you can call in and request any kind of music.
Uh-huh.
And to kind of backtrack, we were bugging Capone to spin us. We had just recorded a demo, and I remember seeing Capone at the Range Bowl, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm in a band called Venaculas, and we want to be on the river." And he was like, "Well, give me your demo. Let me know what you think, and I'll let you know what we think." And then this girl that Davey was talking to at the time called in and was like, "Hey, can you play that band Venaculas that I saw at the Range Bowl?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
We were all too shy to call in. And
Well, you're not really supposed to call in for your own band.
Right.
yeah, but we
Don't know.
So she called in, and then they spun it. And I remember sitting in our house in Papillion, and we cranked it on the air. And then there was enough positive feedback where Capone spun it again, because we were getting a lot of dials
like
in.
An hour later. He spun it again like an hour later. He said he's never heard anything like that. People went nuts. And what was funny about that recording, Shut Up, we barely had enough money to get in a warehouse studio, a day and a half. And we recorded 5 songs, and we had a few hours left over after the recording. We told the sound engineer, you know what?
Jim.
Good old Jim.
Jim Homan, big shout out.
Oh, we love Jim. What song do you think would be the best to spend some extra production time on?
Okay.
And he said this one. Sure enough, it was Shut Up, and it made it world of difference is a little extra production time on it.
I feel like I'm bragging here, but we were just like number one on the local charts week after week after week, and then we would see us when compared to the national acts. And I remember, for instance, Korn came out, and Korn was number one. Somebody else was number two, then we're number three, and I'm thinking, geez, like we're selling in Homers. But the funny thing about Homers, and this is a fun story, when we first got a consignment with Homers to put our CDs in there, I remember we were bringing them boxes, and they said, well, we only want 5 per store. And I think they had 7 stores. I think they had like 4 in Omaha, 1 in Council Bluffs, and 2 in Lincoln or something like that. So they wanted 5 for each store. And I remember David J. saying this, and this sounds cocky, but I remember David J. saying, you guys are going to need a lot more than that. And they said, no, we're just start off with 5, and if they sell, then we'll contact you and we'll go from there. Well, they went like that instantly. So then we started bringing them in by the hundreds, and then they were just taking off.
Spicoli, I got a good story, man. So it's about Kenny Cheers is in the room with us too. He's doing some photography. So the first time I heard of Venaculas, we were in a band together.
Who was in a band together?
Me and Kenny.
You and Kenny?
Dude,
were in
I
a
had
band?
just moved to Nebraska. It was like 2000, 2001, I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't remember when it was. But we were at this, I told this story to Phil a long time ago, man, but he says some parts aren't true, but it is. But so we were practicing at this sub shop, and it was me, Kenny, and some other dudes that Kenny knew. And we were pretty much like a 311 ripoff band. And I was like, I don't like this, man. I was like, I don't like this. And we weren't super good, man. And then in walks, at the time, I didn't know it was Phil, was hanging out with one of the guy's sisters from the band. And he walks in the sub shop, and everyone's just like, oh. And I was like, what are you guys freaking out about? It's like, I had no idea who he was or anything. They're like, you don't know who that is? And I was like, nah, he looks like he could whoop my ass, but I don't know. Who is he?
He couldn't.
And he's like, he's in this band called Venaculas. So I went to East. And I think you guys graduated what? 03?
Bellevue West, yep.
02? Yeah.
2000.
Yeah, so I was on the other side of Bellevue. So everybody else, was like, yeah. And so I met Phil or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. We have to check him out sometime. And then somebody gave me a copy of the demo. And I heard Shut Up for the first time. And I was like, wait, these dudes are still in high school? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's that Phil dude? And then I guess the next time we had band practice, one of our guys was like crying. Right? Like almost crying. And I was like, what's wrong? Phil said we suck. And I was like, we do suck. Like really bad.
Oh, no, I don't remember that. Oh, I'm sorry I said that. I don't remember that part, but
Was this American Heroes?
Yes. Oh my
God,
that's so
icky.
weird. Like,
it's weird that
sure
we
he
know the
didn't mean
sub
it.
shop.
I'm sure he didn't mean it.
No, dude, we were terrible.
No,
Weren't we,
no.
Kenny?
No,
No.
but you know what? 311 was a big inspiration, especially for me. As soon as I saw Down on MTV, I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to bleach my hair, and I want to be like Nick Hexum. So that's what I tried to do. And then...
And when I saw the Monkees on TV in 1967, I said, I want to do that.
We're going from 311 to the Monkees. I love it, man. And that's the kind of thing about Venaculas. Everybody is inspired a little bit by each different band. So Jay, 311, Old Man Dave, the Monkees. What about you, Chad?
I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I just like a lot of music, so I'll never be able to pinpoint it to one thing, because I seem like I can find something with everything that I'm like, that's cool, or like, or no, don't. Yeah, So I really don't have one specific.
POD and Zebrahead for Chad is what comes to my mind.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine.
The Urge we liked a lot.
Urge, Zeppelin, love Zeppelin.
Eric?
Taproot was a big influence for me.
Oh, there you go.
And then of course Seven Dust, who we opened for a few times.
Yes.
But then I also grew up go to my grandparents' house in Clarendon. So I grew up on big band.
Okay.
So like Glenn Miller and all those kind of music. So
Nice.
there's a little bit of part of me that has like that big band orchestra.
I just had a big epiphany moment. You said Taproot, and I hear that now. I was just listening to Open Your Eyes.
Yep.
And I was just listening to Taproot like 2 days ago because they just came out with new
Yes,
music.
dude. Yes.
And I'm like blown
yeah,
away.
that
I'm
makes
like,
sense,
oh,
dude.
no way.
Yeah.
Okay, that all comes together for full circle. Where did you guys find Eric? Because you didn't always have Eric in the band.
No, we originally we had big shout out to Pat Lovett, who was our original bass player. Chad and I is one of our best friends. And unfortunately, things happen and band members split ways and stuff like that. But Eric was in a band called Erebus in Clarinda, Iowa. Venaculas and Davey's old band Dilated were traveling to Clarinda to do a show. Erebus was the opener, and Eric was the guitar player and singer. And we really liked what he was doing with his voice and stuff like that. We knew he had, musical talent. And at the time, we were kind of looking for a new bass player. And we all kind of came up with the idea. I don't know who really came up with the idea, but I was like, hey, why don't we see if Eric...
I honestly feel like it was Dave.
It might have been... Because, there's...
I came up with all the good ideas.
So we asked Eric, I was like, hey, do you want to be our bass player and do some singing for this band? And he was like, okay, that sounds cool. So he would... commute back and forth from Omaha to Clarinda, and eventually he ended up bunking up with me and my dad and my mom at the time in Papillion. And at that house,
all in one.
My parents,
It's like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, my parents built a house in Papillion, and a part of the garage was our little band rehearsal studio. So
which was awesome.
They literally a part of the building of the house. Like, it had to include a band room specifically for the Venaculas because we were just constantly playing, constantly recording. So it was really kind of cool to have, again, little old Dave bankroll the operation. Build a specific room for us.
Right. We tried to soundproof it, but dishes still fell off the kitchen wall while we were practicing.
Oh, my God.
And the boys' mom and my late wife, Fran, was just the biggest help and inspiration in the band. She was just like the band mom. She was so sweet. Anyway, when we sold that house, I did some touch-up paint around the house to sell it.
Oh, no.
I get to the band room, and the walls are pretty trash, so I paint those. And then I look up at the ceiling.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
What's on the ceiling?
There's all these brown dots. And there's a lot above where Chad stood, and almost as many above where Jason and Eric stood. And I get up close, get the ladder, look up. That's fucking snot. They would pick their nose
and flick it. Yep.
So we were gross at each other, yeah.
So I get the best primer I can find, and I just hit it with a roller.
Not only is Dave bankrolling everything, he's building a house and a band room, and then when he sells it, he has to scrape boogers off the ceiling.
Oh my God, that's great, dude.
Oh man.
Hey, to be fair, in the booger department here, my car.
Oh,
you should have seen the ceiling of that car. It was not all mine.
Chad was the only one with the car at first.
Yes, we'd all roll around in my car.
Okay.
Little Toyota Tercel,
Everyone
dude.
would flick their bugs up on my ceiling. I was looking like,
we were gross, dude. 16-year-old idiot kids.
I thought you were professional, musicians, and just would take everything
Absolutely not.
professionally.
Oh
No,
my God.
you were
Yeah,
nasty
never.
little teenagers.
Yes,
we were. I think we still are. It's just we're not around each other as much, and we have to act mature now.
Right.
So the first song with Eric was it Fly? Was
Decisions.
that Decisions? That was.
Decisions,
I remember
man.
when that one hit the radio, dude, and I think you dropped it,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah, I think
And
it was on
remember
Road Rage.
dropping it.
Yep.
and
Was I in the
hearing it.
studio on that one with you guys? Like just kind of watching some behind the scenes?
I think so.
I think it might have been Decisions
It
or
was Decisions because that was the first one we went into the studio with Jim, and we were like, this is a new element we're bringing into the band, and he liked it. He was like, okay, this is cool. It kind of breaks up some of the just straight up hardcore kind of rage kind of feel, and then when you drop that, I feel like that's when things really kind of changed.
Oh
for us.
yeah.
And then later came Fly, and that's when things changed even more for us. What I personally
Now, when you say change, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like people showing up for shows, man. It was like, holy fuck.
Can we
Holy
just take
fuck.
a moment to appreciate Spicoli though for all the
Dude,
work he's done?
and I was
For
going to
the
say
Venaculas.
thank all you guys
And
for
all
doing this. with
all the
Spicoli,
local
man.
guys,
You,
like especially you, man. You did a
huge.
shit ton, and it's
huge
it's,
in helping our careers.
You didn't have to. A lot of stuff you'd show up.
Yep.
The live shows.
Well, I wanted to be there and support because when I see talent, like I like to be around that, and you guys are so talented, and like just playing that and then singing it and seeing the shows and seeing the people just sing the words back to you, and just being able to announce you guys on stage. I mean, that was a dream come true for me.
So
I'd never
sweet.
experienced that before, so being in that, and around the creators and the musicianship and the brotherhood that you guys had, it was just a magnet to be around, and it made me love you guys even more because of how hard you worked and how fast you saw success, and you were living your dreams, and to be able to do that was special, and to see you grow from like teenagers into like kids that are 20 and like you're going on tour. Describe what that was like. You guys got out of Omaha for a little bit.
Well, you have to. I think also we have to hold up just a second. The craziest thing about all this, how quick things happened. we really, talking about Dave was the only one that really knew what he was doing. I mean, really, as far as being a musician, we had no idea what we were doing. We still don't, really, to be honest. So the whole thing was really incredible. Yes, like having the songs on the radio and then people showing up, that was amazing because you're talking about people that didn't really, know what that was. We're just like, we were having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
We just did what we were doing, having fun. And what really the big rock stars of the time period were the scene, the people that came to the shows. That was like the craziest part, and I don't see that anymore. That was a whole nother level. I mean, we were fortunate to be a part of that, but really, I think the biggest thing we brought to the table was we weren't musicians. We weren't scene people. We were people. We played sports
Kids
together.
that skateboarded.
Yeah, we skateboarded and played baseball together, and by us playing and stuff, I think that kind of opened that door to a new audience to attend local music. These people all of a sudden felt like, wait, what's this thing going on? And they brought the energy, and it was really something we can't really take credit for. They brought it. We just happened to be a part of it.
Yeah, and then you guys went hard because you would see that energy, and then that would make you guys go hard, and that's what a lot of people remember about your live shows is like you guys went stupid.
Yeah. The Ranch Bowl was so cool because we put 450 kids in that room, but you could see every face.
Yeah.
And they could see, and the energy, like exchange, was just phenomenal. And we had this weird thing where we didn't do it on purpose, but we didn't use bad language on stage. And we would see moms bring their kids. I mean, it was just the coolest atmosphere ever. We like Chad said, we were very fortunate to hit it at that time.
To kind of piggyback off that, there's the moment I'll never forget it when I was like, all right, dude, Venaculas has hit that point. And my uncle hit me up, and he was like, are you going to go see Venaculas at Westroads? And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, Venaculas, this band called Venaculas. I was like, I know who they are. What do you mean they're playing at Westroads?
Yeah, we did a couple of them at the Westroads, but I remember they would blocked off this whole area around Dick's Sporting Goods. And I remember when we started playing, a mosh pit started. And the mall security didn't know what to think or what to do. And they're thinking people are fighting. So they're running in the crowd, grabbing kids and pulling them out and kicking them out and stuff. And, after a while, they finally just gave up because they couldn't keep up with all the people moshing and stuff. And so that was kind of funny. I think if I remember right, too, it might have been the Oakview one. But I remember them telling us, all right, you guys can play again, but you can't have any moshing in the mall. We can't. So I think I might have had to make an announcement before we played. Hey guys, please, you can't.
And those were free shows.
Yeah,
I don't know how the fucking mall superintendents and the people who ran the mall allowed this to happen. But we did it 3 times
next year.
we did one at Oakview, 2 at Oakview, 1 at Westroads, and didn't we do one in Council Bluffs too?
The first one we did was in Council
that was Council.
Was it?
Yeah.
And then we did like a signing there too, and there was a big ordeal and shit. Sam Goodies.
Bill worked at
Remember
Sam
that?
Goodies
Sam
at the time.
Goodies?
Well,
Holy
we
shit.
were still in high school when that happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chad and I were still in high school.
And
How
so you guys
crazy
would
is
just
that,
spread
dude?
the word at school, like, hey, I'm playing at
Yep.
Westroads,
But
and
that
it
was-
just kind of spread.
That was kind of the thing is that, they were having big shows because they were still in high school. When they played the mall show, dude, it wasn't kids from Bellevue anymore.
No,
dude, at this point,
started-
it was just
yeah,
nuts.
It started to spread like wildfire. And we like that. There was one on YouTube. Yeah, I think we put on the DVD too. Was that the Oakview one where it was?
It's Oakview. That's what's on YouTube. I saw.
I look back at that.
there's security
show and I'm
grabbing
like,
a
holy
kid and-
shit, dude! There was a fuckload of people there.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that. I'm not tooting on.
No, there
horns or
was,
nothing,
dude.
but at the time, we were scrawny little kids. If you look at how skinny I was and how skinny Chad and Eric were and stuff, we were scrawny little
What are we
shits.
fat now? Is that what you're saying?
We're more experienced. We got wisdom. We can afford to eat now.
It was just so cool to see, man, and yeah, we made it like a fun thing, and the way we dressed and stuff, we didn't dress like metalheads and stuff. I would wear like green turtle shirts and shit.
Yeah.
We'd have like blue tank tops and stuff like that. So
Jay's
I don't
look
know.
was, let me see if I can remember. It was a tank top with black short socks pulled up.
yep, it's still to this day
Legendary. You still rock that? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay.
It's wild, man.
It is funny though. We would catch all sorts of flack on the message boards from
Slam
other
Omaha. Remember Slam?
Slam Omaha.
Yeah, dude.
So what a poisonous board.
Right. They would just be slamming on the band for, these guys are just a bunch of posers, just a bunch of suburban
It was like a
fucking rich kids.
daily mean post.
Oh, yeah.
And then there'd be one guy that's defending, and then they would just rip on him for defending. And
Yeah, we
It
got
was so funny.
we got a lot of crap on
was
the
actually
message
fun
boards.
to
I
look
was
at
gonna say
that
it was
stuff.
actually kind of a fun time. Like I kind of missed that a little bit. It just kept stuff like entertaining. Now everyone gets along.
Right.
It's no fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like before you guys got like super big, I remember that somebody at East was like, "Isn't their dad the drummer?" And I was like, "Bro, I don't knock it. Like, go see it before you knock this dude."
So the father-son duo was a blessing for us, but it was also a curse in certain ways. So it really got, once the label started hearing about it, they were like, really, a father-son duo? And so they were interested. So then they looked into us, but then they thought it was kind of cool, but it was kind of gimmicky. And then eventually they didn't want David J in there anymore because they wanted just to be all young people. So they were having a hard time. And so that was an extremely tough decision and tough thing to do. And eventually, after all the years, David J made the decision to step back. And man, that was a sad day when that happened.
Like he showed me and Davey and my other brother, he showed us music, right? Like he showed us growing up, always having, a drum set up, always blasting, Led Zeppelin, Pearl Jam in the house, because he always had a great sound system. So when the kids came over, all the friends came over, we just crank up, anything that we're listening to at the time. But, growing up, it was always cool to have, that kind of influence. Faith No More was a big one, which my dad was always into the rhythmic stuff,
right?
Having that boom, ba-ka, boom, boom, ka. And if you listen to all the Venacular stuff, it has the same fucking so
yeah. And shout out to Dave, like, for just doing that, man. But like being a dad and being involved in the kids' lives, like I never saw it that way back then. I was just like, oh, it's cool, like old man Dave is there, but like the fact that he's a part of the band, the fact that he's helping you guys out and grow this thing. I mean, we're all dads now, and I mean, it's hard. Parenting is hard, and I never saw it that way until I had kids. I'm like, oh man, that takes a lot of effort, and to be there for your kids and do that, like, to me, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Well, it was fun. I mean, I was, my mid-40s. I walked into Homer's one day, and 3 girls screamed. I'm like, what the hell?
They were scared.
I'd be driving down the interstate. People would pull alongside, honk and wave, and people would follow me and my wife around West Roads, just pointing, and it was just it was an awesome experience. Thanks to these guys for accepting me, because I know they put up with a lot of shit. But like, oh, God, you got a dad for the drummer. That's stupid.
But we really didn't do it, though. Looking back, it wasn't like something we did as like a novelty thing.
Yeah.
It just happened, and it worked. We had, it was fun. We loved having him around. It wasn't like, let's get the old guy to drum.
The sound guy at the Ranch Bowl, the first thing he said, our first show at the Ranch Bowl, he says, "What are you doing here?" I said, are you the manager? You help what? I'm the drummer. He goes, everybody's got a shtick. So he thought it was hilarious. Aaron was his name. It was awesome. Yes. And then the timing was perfect. And Dave, son Dave, middle-aged Dave, started dilated and picked up his drumming skills really quickly. And so when I was burnt and done, and the record label, in quotes, said, "We don't want the old guy in the band."
Oh, man.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah,
that really happened.
Yeah.
I was going to touch base on about the record label stuff. So
And it worked out for Dave to step in. And he could do double bass. I can't.
It's weird to hear you call me Dave. I don't like that.
Davey. Okay.
Davey.
So, yeah, that worked out wonderfully. So.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Up in the castle, evil mischief stirs.
Plan number 42. I shall turn myself into a cat and get adopted by the butcher's daughter so I can learn all her secrets. Then, I will use them to make her fall in love with me. What do you think, Wilson?
Hey, check out 1v1 Me DM on all podcast platforms to see more of Dracula's perfect plans at finding true love.
So what? Yeah, about with this record label, that was kind of like a big rumor and stuff that was going around that they were like, "Oh, we don't want the dad in the band." Is that so? That really happened?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we started showcasing, I think, after Who We Are came out, and we all drove to New York, hosted like Sony Records, Universal, BMI, all these fucking huge labels. So we do showcases, and after the first one, they said, "Yeah, it's a good live show and stuff." And John Jacobmeyer at the time, our manager, was like, he didn't really want to tell Dave that was the reason why we weren't getting a deal, but it was the second time in LA where we did another showcase, and I don't remember. Did John tell you
Poor David.
Like you know, they just kind of want to don't think that you can really market you guys.
You're just too darn old.
With you know, having an older guy in the back. Do you guys have somebody that can kind of come in and take over? And around that time, I think it was when the talks were happening. Like, if we want to really pursue this as a long-term career, we might want to consider, you know, maybe bringing Davey in. And then I was the one who had to break it to my dad, which was, I remember sitting there on that fucking, you know, in the living room being like, Dad, I think it's about time. We bring in Davey. We want to try to get signed. And we ended up signing a really weird deal with a really weird record label at the time. And it was not Universal or Sony. So
It was the first one that offered something. We're like,
we were so fucking desperate.
We don't even
for a
want to read
deal.
the contract.
So we took a deal with an indie label out in LA, and that did not work out.
How long was the deal for?
I think we had like a 1 album deal or something like that, and it was
Well, it was to revamp what we already had.
Yep, they were gonna
gonna
take our catalog and redistribute it out, remarket it out into the U.S. and globally, but things just kind of started falling apart.
It never came to fruition.
And it was weird, man. Like we recorded in LA a few times, and then we did this like campaign kickoff in Madison, Wisconsin, where we hosted a bunch of different local bands to, like, you know, give us your demos and maybe we can help you guys do something with it or some shit.
We couldn't even help ourselves. How the hell are we going to help?
It sounds like you got signed to a pyramid scheme. It sounds like, dude.
We
No
knew.
shit. Yeah.
We knew we were in trouble because 2 times. One time we were recording, and I think Phil was doing vocals or something, and we were eating cheeseburgers and sitting there, and like all of a sudden the audio engineer just went, "Stop," and he's like, "I'm not doing another thing until I get paid."
That's what Phil said?
No,
that's what the
label was supposed to pay him, and they hadn't been paying him.
Oh,
and
no.
we're like, what? You know, we're all like, dumb again. We don't have Dave. What do we do? This guy's asking for money. What do we do? Where's the checkbook?
By that time, my dad was out of the band.
So
but,
that was one time. Then the other time, this festival, whatever the heck you want to call it, was in Wisconsin. Was that?
yeah, it was in Madison, Wisconsin.
These bands are supposed to get paid. These were some really good bands that showed up to play this thing, and it was in a huge like airplane hangar,
Yeah, like
it
an
was
ice skating rink or some shit.
Yeah,
And
way overpromised. And they're running to different ATMs to try and pay the bands, but they only had a limit of like $500. The one guy, and he's trying to pay these bands, is getting declined, and we're supposed to bring back this other like producer with us from there. And we were just kind of looked and we're like, dude,
like, fuck this.
It's time to run.
Right.
We're
you
done.
know. So we were getting phone calls on the way back to Omaha. You forgot him. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We are out of here. Yep.
And that was the start of the domino effect in the worst possible way.
Damn.
We were depressed.
It was demoralizing.
It
It just
really
wasted
fucking
so much
sucked.
time.
We wanted it so bad.
And you guys were 19, 20 at this time?
We were older.
We're older than that.
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And you can't leave out the fact. I mean, I think one of the record people said at one point, I think he pointed at you and I, and was like, how am I supposed to send y'all out to Ozfest? Because I feel like you two could be a handful. You know, like,
oh God,
we were wild. I
Like,
mean, we're not.
We were
really wild. So
really,
I mean,
really
some of this was like, you know, where if we really wanted to do this, you know, we could have been like, really being proactive business wise ourselves, really honing in our craft. You know,
yeah.
We were wild.
Yeah, my partying was out of control.
Like, you know,
let's be real here.
You've seen The Dirt, you know.
Mm-hmm. It was like that?
That opening scene, take the drugs out.
Oh, okay.
Take the drugs out. Well,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's past the statute of limitations. Say whatever you want, boys. You're good.
Let's just say the drinking was out of control.
We gave them a good run for their money. It was so, yeah.
So yeah, that's. I mean, like locally, we were doing so much crazy good shit. You know,
Yeah.
like my dad was saying, when we would go out to other shows and stuff, and obviously we loved checking out other bands. You know, we were getting recognition and stuff just by people asking for pictures. It was just so, it was so bizarre and so wild. And then when you know, try to take it seriously and you know, make it a business and really try to do it like the full shebang. I mean, it is fucking hard. It is so hard. And at the time, like, you know, music was changing. Like, you know, the style that we were in was slowly kind of fading away. But right now, it's fucking coming back.
I know.
Which is crazy, dude. Like Taproot,
Right.
Stains coming out with a new record. Like Mudvayne's, you know, big again. Like
And it's all that nostalgia that people are craving. So that leads
Right.
me to this.
Do
What are
it.
you guys working on? This is the time to strike while the
Let's
money
go.
is there.
I
Let's
am
go.
trying.
Are you?
Trey, you gotta talk to these fucking guys.
I know a backyard. I know a backyard.
God
DT's
damn it.
backyard is massive, and he has loads of money, dude. This is the
Fucking time.
he has so much money. His
go.
yard is so big. We could do like a backyard Venaculas barbecue or something, and let's just kill it. I'll host. So I'm
We
ready,
have-
fired up.
So for my backyard venue, we have lined up. What do we have? We have Adam Raimi from Dropout Kids gonna fight Lausanne.
Mm-hmm.
We got Hollywood Undead's gonna perform there. So Noise Wave's gonna come there.
Yep.
Dude,
Remember those
every
guys?
time we do a
We're friends
podcast,
with those
somehow my
guys.
backyard becomes a venue for something.
Sweet, dude.
It is
We'll be there.
unbelievable, dude. So yeah, so when you guys actually signed that, you were like a decade into the band at that point, then
were.
pretty much.
Yeah, So we started the band. I was 14. Chad was 15, and we didn't officially like break up until 2009. Our first show was 2000, right? So-called Underground, 5 bands for $5. So yeah, we were about a decade in.
Why did you guys break up?
It's the whole label thing. When we signed that deal, nothing really happened with it. We were just like, what do we do now?
Phil joined the police department.
Phil joined the police department.
How
It
we,
was
we,
like-
st- we started just kind of drifting.
Was anybody else just like kind of like, whoa, you're a cop now, dude?
Yes.
He's like, yeah.
What? Really? How did you make it?
Yeah, I was like, he's going to be able to catch anybody. Have you seen Phil walk?
Just kidding, Phil. We love you.
Oh my god.
No, but it was shocking. Like to see that. He was like, you know what? I got to make a career move. I got to make some money. I'm eventually gonna get married and stuff. And then that was around the time people were getting married. Some kids were, I think, popping out. I don't know.
Something was
Popping kids out.
popping.
People were getting married.
Chad?
People
Yeah.
were settling down.
And everybody's like, I need to make like real money
Yeah.
because man,
Because we always put the money back into the account.
right?
Do you want to know the one thing me and Spicoli have learned doing this podcast from every artist we've talked to, record signed or not? Fuck record labels. That's what we've heard from people on
Every
record
single
labels.
artist.
Will dog their record label.
Dude, nowadays, man, I mean, Chad's been doing a bunch of different bands and stuff, and Eric started up a bunch of different bands, but Chad does all his shit in his own, in his own little studio, and it sounds fucking amazing. You don't need labels anymore. All you need is a little bit of distribution and the fucking passion to do it, and you can go out there and fucking do it. I mean, TikTok and all that stuff, all these bands are blowing up on that platform, and so it's like, yeah, right now is a good time to kind of like get back after it. You're seeing all these, older bands coming back, resurfacing. So I'm like, maybe we could.
Yeah, I mean,
do
Venaculas.
one song. or
You guys
something.
can use some of these Shure SM7 B mics, and I mean that's all you need now apparently because everybody's doing it now.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I think that's also though we have this conversation a lot. That to me, it's amazing. Like I love being able to go downstairs and just like let it out, do whatever comes to mind, do it. But at the same time, man, if I could go back to where we were,
dude,
I would burn all that stuff, man. I would burn it. I would burn all my like computers, all that stuff to not deal with it and go back to just like
Signing at
working
Homer's.
hard as a band,
Yeah.
writing the
Yeah.
stuff in a room, hating each other, for hours, and getting excited about it to go record it, to go work hard and go out and play it.
Yeah.
And that's how people find out about your music. Now it's just like,
It is a little.
it's so mechanical and
Right.
just dead.
Well, you got to
me
think,
now,
dude.
you know?
Even when you guys started, MySpace wasn't even really a thing. So
Barely,
you didn't know
yeah.
how your turnouts were going to be.
No.
You didn't know till you got there.
No.
Like nowadays, you'll have a pretty good feeling, like, oh, it's going to be a big show because social. But back then, dude, it was just you'd show up and see what
yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
And you had to work hard. You had
Oh,
to get
yeah.
out. You had to connect with people. It was
Flyers.
like,
Every
Yep.
show we're flyering. You
yep,
know what I mean?
you were flying shows. You were just out. You were going to shows. You were hanging out with people, and it's like that's what we did. We just hung out with people. We knew people.
You did networking the old-fashioned way, and
Yep.
I remember like going to see. I think it was one of your first shows at the Ranch Bowl, and seeing like Venaculas up on the marquee, and then the line of people going down the street. I'm like, holy shit, it's happening! And I was so stoked. I'm like, to me, and I also thought like, all right, so great band, heavy, people love it. Also, the power of radio and spreading the word
Yes.
that way. And that's how it was at the time, and it was hot. And you saw people come out and check it out because they were fascinated. They're like, "How are these guys still in high school and just kicking this much, kicking this much ass?" And when it came to the writing stuff, like how did it all start? Like, would Phil just write down with like a piece of paper, and you guys would all contribute?
We just got together like a lot of times too, because I mean, David always like, again, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Dave's the only one that was like, oh, I would look at Dave and be like, Dave is a legit musician. You know,
he can actually play his
yeah, he can play his
rest of us
instrument.
are
We're just
drop
like,
beat, let's just go.
yeah, we're just like, let's make some noise, you know. And like,
I can remember though these guys, the 3 guitar players. Well, Eric was a guitar player. We forced him to play bass, and he was so kind to do that. But
he loves it. And he's like, nope.
One of the 3 would show up and just start playing a riff, just something that they maybe dorked around with at home, and just, and then I'd put a beat, and then Phil would make a record. We had this little 4-track cassette recording. We'd make a recording. The Fostex, yeah. And Phil would take it home, and he'd start writing down some lyrics, and he'd show up the next practice with the song. I was like, oh, okay.
Phil was good at that, though. Props to Phil, because he would show up with the lyrics done. Like, sometimes, like, he'd go into the other room, like, because, like, they were saying we had this special room that we practiced in. He would, like, have to just step out for a minute. He'd go in the other room, talk to Fran or something, and he'd come back in, and he'd have something, you know, that brought to the table. So it just was clicking all the time, and everyone just fed off each other really well, you know.
Yeah.
So
we always wanted to kind of keep it always, I don't know, loud and bouncy and fun. 'Cause like I said, I 311's big influence, and so stuff like that. We always wanted to make sure like our live show was a lot of fun. I mean, at the time we had a lot more energy than we do now.
Yeah.
But that was like a big thing, was always make it like, if we're gonna record this, we need to make sure we can play it live. Play it correctly, and be able to bang our heads, you know, as hard as we could.
And it's so interactive when you guys say jump, jump. Yeah. The crowd goes jump, jump, and it goes back and forth, and they jump, and you just get crazy with it. I love that. Do you think the songs still hold up? Do they still resonate with you?
Some of them do, and some of them are definitely.
They're so icky. There's some icky songs.
There's some ones that are like.
But there's great ones that.
I still jam to Shut Up, dude. I'm not even joking. I still do.
Thanks, man.
Like, I don't know if you remember this concert. If you might remember it, like, immediately, dude. But this is like my one memory of you in Venaculas. It was at Sokol, which is now Admiral. And you climbed all the way to the top of those speakers. Do you remember that? And they wouldn't let you jump?
I do.
And I was in the front, and I was like, I'm going to have to catch this fucking dude.
I think I jumped anyways, didn't I?
Did he? Did you? I can't remember.
There was twice. One time was like, what the fuck was his name?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was after Fly came out, yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Hiddleston was like, don't you dare fucking jump off that. We're going to
It
get
was
sued.
way high, yeah.
So
It was during a song. We were playing a song.
Yeah.
He puts the guitar. It was during a song. It might have been Jim. I don't know. But he puts the guitar down, and I see him heading towards the speaker column. And I go, he's going to get up on there. I know he is. So our manager, John Jigmeyer, was like grabbing him, saying, no. And Kevin Hiddleston, the sound guy at Sokol's, don't you dare get up there. So up he goes, and he starts waving the people over. And sure enough, pew, off he went.
Yeah, there was twice. The one time you're talking about was like, don't you fucking do it. So I didn't do it.
Yeah, I was there when
And
you
the
didn't do
second
it, I
time,
think.
I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it this time. Yeah,
And thankfully, everybody caught you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They did.
Yeah, it was a-
Was Dad Dave like, don't you do it?
I was rooting for him.
Oh, you were?
I was like, yeah, I know where he's going. Do it.
Do it.
It's crazy. Yeah, it was fun, man.
Hey, what did this is gonna be some nostalgia for. So I remember at Ranch Bowl, if you played a concert there, didn't they like give you like a ticket or something, and you had to like write your name on the back, so when they got turned in, you got like money for
That's
them?
a controversial subject there.
You want to go down this rabbit hole?
Oh.
Wasn't that the thing though?
Yes.
David Jays can explain that the best.
Oh, man.
Tell me about this.
Oh, boy.
There was something, I remember this.
I don't know if we want
Use
to go
this
down.
mic,
This is
David.
the rabbit hole we were...
So when we were playing at the Ranch Bowl back in the day, the thing was the manager at the time would hand each band a stack of coupons. They were like little 3x5 pieces of paper talking about the show, what bands are on the show, what time. And normally the admission was $7. With the coupon, you got in for $2. But $2 off, so you got in for $5. Each band would write their name on the back of the coupon.
The initial of the first letter
Yeah,
of the initial.
at least the first.
It had V's on ours.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Trip and Default, Normandy Circle, those were two of our favorite bands. Slang 5. So we would all take turns writing our name on the back. And then it was up to you to hand out these coupons at other shows to get people to come to your show. So the night of our show, people would show up with the coupons, and like you said, there were lines out the door. We'd pack the place, 450 kids in there. So each kid had a coupon. What's 450 times $5? A little over $2,000, right? So at the end of the night, this particular manager whose idea this was would hand me $55 because we had 55 coupons turned in.
And
wait, you got $1 per ticket that got turned in?
Yes, $1 per coupon.
That sounds like a ripoff.
So
yeah,
right. And then when the management changed and they did away with the coupons and we put 450 kids in, the first time we played there after the management change, the guy handed me $2,000, and it was like, maybe we got ripped off. But
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what a gut punch. Yeah, that's brutal.
And we knew it was, but again, we were doing it for fun, friends. We made so much. It was just so much fun.
Right. It's fun though until you go, wait, how much did you make off us? Like,
Right.
how much did you make off me?
And then you realize this is a business.
Yep.
Yes,
And
it
we're here
is.
to get paid. Like, how much time did you put into the band and what you're doing and the practice and then writing songs and going to the recording studio and how much you could have invested back into the band? Like that one stings a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. So that. So my dad called out the manager at the time. He was like, "Wait, what the fuck?
Right.
What the fuck?" And they're like, "You got 50 tickets, and fuck you." So yeah. If some people can kind of connect the dots, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of set up for things down the road.
Wow.
Without going into detail.
So your shows that you put on at like Sokol and stuff, were those self put on then, or was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part.
That's okay. That
other
makes
times,
sense now. Got it.
There would be sponsorships and stuff, and promoters would want to book us, and we started making friends with other promoters who were booking nationals out of town. So we'd drive up to like Fargo, North Dakota, and open up for like Power Man in front of like 600 kids and just fucking
crazy,
go
man.
wild. It was so much fun just to do that, get on the road with these guys.
Do you
and stuff
guys
like that.
remember the highest paid show you ever got?
Oh man.
Well, there was we did a show at Sokol, and we made I thought it was upwards of like close to $20,000. But
Oh my God,
Wow.
seriously?
But
That's
I
awesome.
think we screwed ourselves because we paid so much in lights that we couldn't pay the venue for the time we booked it for.
Yeah, so
And what made it worse is my brother-in-law ran Sokol, so I had to go up to him like, "Hey, we made money, but is it cool if we don't pay you tonight?" So a little awkward. For me.
Dude.
in a nutshell, like big productions and stuff like that cost bands a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you see,
as
like,
fans, we should appreciate the production when they have all the lights in the back.
the band's getting paid like a sliver
So much
of that money because it's crazy. But yeah, that was a big one, and there was a couple of CD release parties we did where we actually walked out with a few stacks in our pockets, and we're like, "Damn, this is fucking cool."
And you're like young 20s at that point.
yeah,
dude.
Like, holy shit.
And then towards the end, like the off shows we would do years later, we was like, all right, we're gonna split everything between us. So it was more we had nothing to put the money back into.
The reunion shows were
just
pretty
for us,
profitable.
Yeah, that's where it's at, the reunion shows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of,
one
get
or
'em.
two reunion shows a year.
Yeah.
Like make some Christmas money. He's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. But traveling on the road is fun, and I think Eric can attest to that. To a couple times where we maybe partied a little too much.
Yeah, we were talking a little earlier about one show in particular. we do it for a few years. We played in this little small town in Iowa, Lakeview, Iowa, and they had this really cool ballroom. And it was us and like Tripping to Fall.
Okay.
Right later, we get some other bands. But this one particular time, we'd stay at this little motel. And me, Jason, and Chad I don't remember, it was after show, before the show, but we got really inebriated. And we were trying to put our heads and fists through the ceiling.
The head. Did you have a helmet on?
Nope. And so this ceiling was not one that was easily replaced. So basically, I think Dave can touch on it, but he got pulled over because we had a warrant out for our arrest for destruction of property.
Yeah, the police called home, didn't they? Called our house.
No, I got pulled over on the highway about an hour out of town, and he said, "Yeah, you can pay it now, or I can take you to jail."
Pull the checkbook open, I guess.
Putting old man Dave in jail after all he's done for you turds?
No shit.
All the guys probably gave him his number. This is the guy that signs the checks. Just call him. He'll handle it.
Right, my name was on the ledger at the hotel.
So how was jail?
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, I had my checkbook, and I don't know, it was like $500-600, and I told the guys later, "Jesus Christ, you fucking assholes!" But
in the long run, it makes a good story.
It does.
That is awesome, man.
It was fun.
So we were when we asked these guys to come on. It was Dave I was talking to. You call old man Dave. I feel weird saying that, but whatever. That's what you was talking to, and you told me about the guy from Canada. Most recently, man. And I told you I wanted you to talk about that on here. So if you want to talk about it, that'd be awesome, man.
Oh yeah, okay. We still have the Facebook page, and occasionally we'll get requests for CDs or when are you guys doing your next show, that kind of stuff. This is about 2 months ago. A guy from Canada, never been to a show, asked, "God, I really dig your guys' music. Do you have any CDs left?" And I've got a few in the basement, just collecting dust. So I sent them to him, and he was just so appreciative. And I said, "How'd you hear about us?" He said, "A friend of mine just told me to check out your Facebook page, and I've just been digging it ever since." So yeah,
crazy.
I think the craziest one though was there was a guy when the band was still active, a guy from Russia, and it might have been while we were on MySpace. Sends a message. Can you send us a CD here in Russia? And we figured it out how to do it, but I don't remember. But yeah, that was a long range one.
I don't know why, man, but I just got super excited that you were gonna do a Russian accent when you said that. I was like, it's coming, and then you didn't do it. And I was like, so let down just now.
Yeah,
I'll save you.
It's still with Venaculas. It still has such a nostalgic feel, and I think a lot of people would want to see you guys come back. I mean,
I don't
even
think
if you
it's
put
a
out,
thing, bro, people want it.
even if
It
you
would
put
fit.
out one new song and you found Dave, you found Dave at a weak moment, and you're like, Dave, we just need a couple $1,000s to go in the studio.
Chad, you can just make it in your basement, right? By yourself.
We can go in Chad's basement.
I mean, legit, dude. Nowadays, you can all do your instruments from home, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Chad's ready. I can see the look in his eyes.
He's
I
like,
mean,
nah.
I think everybody has that look in their eyes here, though, David. That's like, I mean,
Can
they
you
have
imagine-
something brewing. I feel like they have something brewing.
Phil driving around in his van, just screaming while he's driving, recording, dude.
Yes.
Yep. We call Chad the producer/seducer, so I think he can easily make something happen. But who knows? I try all the time. I always text these guys like, "Hey, what do you guys think about
weekly?"
I'm like,
wanna
"God
play?"
damn it, you fuckers!
I missed the
All these
stage.
fucking bands are coming back. Why can't we?" And they're like, "I don't know, man. I got to take my kid to volleyball. Not today. Not today."
You guys could do a reunion, so it'd be like babysitter night or something, and all the
Yeah.
parents from back in the day, like, we got to get a babysitter. Let's go.
Yeah.
We gotta
Or
do it.
like have like babysitting services at the venue.
That's actually
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, that would be a funny promotion, though, wouldn't it be? Like that, we could come up with a clever name for that.
For you.
we could use
Yeah.
my backyard for all the kids, dude. Let's
you
put them
go.
all back there.
That's right. We got.
I finally found a real
Roman
reason
up
for
in.
my backyard. People driving down the road being like, there's 300 kids in that guy's backyard. Shitting like dogs. What's going on?
Kid Fest. Yep.
Man, I got to be honest. This is super cool, man. First in-person podcast for me and Spicoli, man. Having Venaculas, the full band with us, man. This is awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for doing this. And yeah, man, I'm with you, man. Let's start some new Venaculas music. Let's get it going.
Yep, we're all here for it. It's all nostalgic for us, and it's been a pleasure over these years seeing you guys grow and see how far you've come and what you accomplish. And don't ever take any of that like what you've done like. I don't know. What I'm trying to say, like what you did at that time was special, and a lot of people, we feel that. Like anytime you say Venaculas, people are like,
Oh, yeah.
Venaculas, like they know. Like if you know, you know. And what you guys did was something, it just special at that time. And so to be a small part of that and to see you guys grow was super special for me.
Thank you again, man, and thank you
having us.
guys for
awesome.
having us on this podcast. We really appreciate it, and we always talk about old stories and stuff, and we'll be best friends for the rest of our lives. You know what I mean? So, and two of them I'm family with, so
Give them a choice.
I don't have a fucking choice. But no, it's been a real pleasure, man, and to watch you grow as a freaking radio
right.
host, dude, crushing it here in
Hell
Omaha.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
fucking dope, man.
Yeah, man.
We love it. We love seeing you out there, bud.
Let's get the commitment right now, man, just in case. If you guys drop a new song, you're coming on the podcast,
Absolutely.
and we're going to announce it
100%.
together.
And then I will
100%.
find a way to play it on 98.5.
Yes.
I might get fired, but I'll find a way.
We had that recorded. We got that on video.
I love that
right?
idea.
we got everything, man. All right, man. Thanks a lot, guys, man. And we'll
Thank
talk to
you
you guys
guys.
soon.
Thank you,
bro.
guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Until the midnight hour.